I wanted to make a vegetarian St. Patrick's Day dinner, so I decided to try making a meatless Irish stew. I started out by chopping up all my veggies: onions, mushrooms, garlic, celery, some carrots, potatoes, and cabbage. And then into a big pot, I added in some olive oil and threw in my mushrooms and cooked those down until all the water was released. And then I added in my onions and cooked those until they were fragrant. I made sure to gather lots of spices to make sure this has enough flavor since there's no meat in it. I then tossed in my celery and my garlic and let that cook down a bit. And then I added in a nice big chunk of good Irish butter. Since there's no fat from meat, we need lots of grease. Once that melted, I added about a handful of flour to thicken up the soup and mixed that in. Then I tossed in 2 boxes of vegetable broth and a little bit of water, just enough to cover all my vegetables. For seasonings, I added some garlic powder, some onion powder, parsley, some Himalayan salt, black pepper, seasoned salt, and then a veggie bouillon cube. I mixed that all in there and then tossed in my carrots and my potatoes and also a spoonful of the veggie Better Than Bouillon base. Then I just let all that come to a boil and cooked down the carrots and potatoes for a bit. And then once that was softened, I added in my chopped cabbage. I also decided to add in a little bit of cornstarch. I just mixed it with some cooled broth and then added it back in because it wasn't thick enough to be a stew for me. And I added a little bit of the egg noodles and let those cook in once the heat was off. And it looks like this. We served this with some warm French bread with butter. It was absolutely delicious. You couldn't tell there was no meat in there.